Our guests are Jeremy Elsom and Chris Riley, the Belle High School and Middle School cross country coaches and guys. Welcome again to Black Hills TV.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You guys went up to Tomahawk Country Club for the Lead-Deadwood Invite. Kind of a cool place to run, huh?
Yeah, it's a very nice course. It's a beautiful place, yep.
Yeah. Well, tell us about how'd you guys do?
It was a good day. High school races started off first, so high school girls were first off with a 5K. We had girls go third and fourth, Ava Allen and Allison Hayes, and then Annika Main and Alana Pomeranke also ran varsity for us. So they didn't do team scores, but if they would have, I think we would have ended up second, just behind Red Cloud. Red Cloud's pretty stout. They took first and second on the individual side, but I thought our girls competed well. It's a challenging course. You got to do 2 loops with a pretty big climb in there. It's at elevation. So I was happy the way they performed. It's kind of tough to compare your times, maybe, especially coming from Brookings, which is a flat, faster course going into Lead-Deadwood. But it's also where our region meet is, so we thought it was important to get over there and check it out and let the kids all run on it. None of our kids had ever run that course before, with the exception of Cole, and he was a 6th grader, so it's a lot different than it was 5 years ago. And then, so varsity boys, Sawyer won. Had a pretty relaxed race. I mean, he raced hard, but I think he was a little sore and fatigued going in, so he was kind of happy that he wasn't necessarily pushed way up at the front. He can kind of maybe relax a little bit, not have to charge as hard as he usually would. Cole Hockenberry was 3rd, and we actually placed all 5 of our boys in the top 10. So then Aiden Voiles was in there, and then we finished 9th and 10th with Devin Nojeski and Nick Lambert. So we had some season best times. It was just a nice confidence boost to have all our boys in the top 10. It wasn't a huge meet, but they all ran well, top half of the field. So we got what we wanted out of the day for that side of it. JV girls, we placed Jasmine Jensen and Brenna Leitner, both in the top 10, are only JV girls that ran, so it was a good day for them. Brenna PR'd actually, which pretty stout course to PR on, so that shows she's coming along in her first year running. And then JV boys, we swept the top 5 spots, which is pretty cool. Harley Rivera, freshman, came in and won the race, led it wire to wire, so he's going to move up to varsity at conference and see what we can do at that level. 2nd was Carson Hani. I believe 3rd was Dustin Kolb. 4th, Cern Weishar. 5th, Zach Tonsager. And then for good measure in 7th, we had Jet Jensen, and 10th, Isaac McKinney. So we swept the top 5 and then put all of our boys in the top 10 too for JV. So for high school, it was a really good day.
Jeremy, how about the middle schoolers?
Yeah, so the middle schoolers, they ran a 3K, so it was basically just 1 loop with a couple small add-ins. On the girls' side, we had 5 girls PR during that race. This is kind of a tough course to PR on because there's such a large hill. Kyra Vandenberg, she actually took 5th. She PR'd. Cora Knapp PR'd. Aubrey Moody, Riley Owen, and Maya Bush, they all PR'd during that race. Middle school boys, we had 5 in the top half of the race. We had, Lennon Clarkson, he took 3rd. I think this is the first time he ran against anyone other than a 6th grader, right? So there were some 7th and 8th graders in that race, so he took 3rd there. Garrett Houston took 23rd. Harvey took 24th, and Logan Willert took 38th. And PRing in that race was, Garrett Houston, JP Jensen, Carter Lyons, and Tayson Carr. Sorry, Tayson. Yeah, so they did really well. Really pleased with their performance.
Is the elevation at Tomahawk that much different than Belle to make a difference?
I'm not sure if it's the elevation or if it's just the long grinding hill on the backside. I think the elevation's pretty comparable. It's a little higher.
It's about 2,000 feet higher there than what we train at here, so I'm sure there's a bit of a component to that, although it might be more mental. And if you don't tell the kids about it, maybe they'll be ignorant of it and won't know it anyway. If they think about it the whole time, it's probably going to mess with them a little bit. So we didn't really emphasize that. And hopefully they don't watch this interview before the region meet is there also.
Yeah, right. So regions at Tomahawk.
Yeah, we'll have regions at Tomahawk next week, and pretty stout regions, so you got to work for everything you get. So we got a tough conference too, which is similar to the region, but you just throw in Sturgis, Spearfish, and Douglas, and it's kind of our region on steroids almost, with a few AA schools mixed in. So you earn every spot you get in those meets, which is good, because by the time, if you make it to state, whatever you can do at state is It's kind of just showing where you came from as far as the area of the state you're on, and this is a pretty dominant area for distance running.
As of today, you're still scheduled to go to Hot Springs this Thursday. And what do you expect down there?
Yeah, that's a tough course. We usually get some hot weather down there. Probably not so much with conference being a little later in October. Normally we go there for their invite in September. But it's pretty wide open, not a lot of shade, and some decent climbing. Well, it's a beautiful course. It's on their Southern Hills Country Club down there. So it's a bit of a grind. There's not a whole lot of flat sections where you can really find that rhythm. You're kind of either going up or down, up and down. But our kids have done fairly well there in the past. It can be intimidating when you show up and see some of those hills, but we've also raced some pretty tough courses this year, so hopefully our kids will be ready for that. I wouldn't necessarily say we're going to be super well rested for it. We had a pretty tough workout going into it, so there could be a little fatigue still, but hopefully the kids can race through that, and our eye is more on regions and state meet coming up, and conference is just kind of train through the week, do what we can on race day, and then move on.
Is that one of the tougher courses with all the hills down there at Southern Hills Golf Course?
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely ranks among the toughest. Some kids just race differently on those different courses. I don't think there's anything tougher than Hot Springs where we go. I think what we have here in Bell, Custer, when we go there, if they host a region or a conference meet, is equally, if not a little tougher as well. Douglas can be awful hard if you have the wind blowing out there, which it usually is, and there's a pretty stout climb out there too. So a lot of these courses out here are good, tough courses, and it makes a good athlete out of you by the time you get to maybe a flatter, easier course, which will be the case for Rapid City State Meet this year. I think kids can really get out a little harder and feel confident about the way they can race.
It's always great to cover Belfish High School sports, and you guys do a great job with cross country.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Thank you.